Hey mate, welcome to Xamarin Forms video tutorial by .NET Tricks. I am your trainer Harikrishnan. You can follow me on the Twitter. My ID is cn_Harikrishnan. In the last video, we saw about the overview of layouts and also about the categories of the layouts. In this session, we'll explore in detail about the layouts with single content view. So the first one is the content view. A Xamarin Forms content view class is a type of layout that contains a single child element, and it is typically used to create custom or reusable controls. So it is inherited from the class called templated view. So it is basically provides a quick padding and formatting around another view or layout, and it is as similar to the .NET panel control. So the commonly used properties inside a content view is padding, background color, and the layout options, which we saw in the previous video. The next one is the scroll view. The scroll view is basically a layout that is capable of scrolling its content. So it is derived from the layout class in Xamarin Forms, and by default scrolls the content in the vertical manner. So this view can have only one children, and of course it can be a simple view or even a complex layout that has multiple children inside it. Apart from this, the scroll view also has the capability to scroll the content either horizontally or vertically or in both directions, and wraps the other layouts inside the main content of the scroll view, and it makes them scrollable. So it also works nicely with the stack layout as well, and of course the orientations are vertical and horizontal for the scrolling. And next comes the frame layout. So a Xamarin Forms frame is basically a layout that is used to wrap a view with a border or a frame that is configured with the color and shadows and few other options applied to it. So these are basically used to represent a view with borders around it, or it can even also be used to create even more complex UIs. So the border color properties allows us to specify or customize the color of the frame, and the corner radius lets us customize the radius or the corners. And by default the frame will have a padding value of 20, and the key properties of these are the layout options properties along with the border color and corner radius. And one other handy thing about the frame is it has a shadow property which is by default set to true. So that's all about the layouts with single child in Xamarin Forms, and I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you. Hey mates, welcome to Xamarin Forms video tutorial by .NET Tricks. I'm your trainer Harikrishnan. In this session we are going to see a demo about the layouts with single content view. Let's see it in detail. Let me first create a Visual Studio demo. So create a new project, and as always you have to click the mobile app Xamarin Forms under the mobile section and click on the next. Let's name this demo to be XF single child layout. And let me create it, and as always let me have a blank app. Note that you can always create any type of app like a flyout app and tabbed app. In my requirement I'm just going to need a simple page to show about the layouts that has single children, like single child. So I'm clicking the blank app and let me create it. Alright, so the project for the XF single child layout to see about layout that can hold single child is created. So let's go ahead and write some code and to understand how layouts with single children works. So first let me open this child here. What we are going to see is we are going to see various layouts like content view, frame and scroll view, which are capable of holding only one child inside it, and understand how it works. So for that purpose what we are going to do is we are going to load image inside a content view or a frame and see how it works and what are the differences between those layouts and where it can be used. So for that purpose, first let me add this extension class, which is image resource extension. What this does is it will help us to use the images directly from the PCL using the image resource.from resource extension. So let me use these two images. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to directly use the images from the PCL. So let me change its build action to be embedded resources. So details about how this images can be worked on is discussed in detail in the working with images session. So I hope that will provide more detailed information about this thing. So yeah, let's go to the main page and start working. So I don't need all these things. Fine. So as we just discussed, there are three layouts that is capable of holding a single child. The first one is the content view, and the second one is the frame, and third one is the scroll view. So let's first see about the content view. So similar to the content property for a content page, this content view also does not require anything to be mentioned explicitly like children or content. Whatever you write inside the content view, it will automatically take as child or the content, which is the beauty of XAML. And let me give it a background color with some padding space. And all I wanted to do is load an image from the local repository. So for that I may have to define a local string. So first let me define a local namespace, which is the XF single child layout. Alright, now let me use the image resource extension and use the images which is inside the images folder. So we should give it as namespace name, which is XF single child layout dot images dot the name of the image along with the extension. So it is monkey1.jpg, or else maybe we could use the monkey2 because that's the single monkey's image. So, and I want this to be fit based on the aspect value, and let me give some height hard-codedly. Alright, so the image is added. Now if you try to add some more view here, you could see that the things will not be accepted because the content property is set more than once. So that itself shows us that this content view is capable of holding only one child. Fine, now let's run the demo. Let me make the Android project as the startup project and run. Alright, so the demo is launched. So as we just saw, we have a content page here, which is the main page. We have a content view which is filled entirely and having this yellow space, yellow as background color, and I've loaded an image inside it, which is the monkey2, and it has a padding value of 20 and is loaded fine. So that's all about the content view. It helps you hold a single child, be it any view in Xamarin Forms. You can even hold a layout inside a content view. You can load stack layout inside a content view, and that stack layout indeed can have multiple views. Of course, you can hold a frame inside it, a scroll view in fact inside it. You can load any view which is in Xamarin Forms inside the content view, or inside any layout in fact. So that's all about the content view. Let's go ahead and see about the other layouts. So these are helpful when you need your view to be wrapped up with some padding spaces, which could be very simple. So a content view is something which holds one content along with some padding spaces and with some background color as well. And similar way, there is another layout called as frame, which has some characteristics apart from the content view, which is the border color, and it has a default padding of 20. And let me set a margin, and since it already has a padding, and this has this property called as hash shadow, so which will display a shadow inside it. And let me use the same image which we used here. So what I have done is I have used a frame with a border color as a red with some shadow for the same image, so that it will look like how we see an image in a gallery. So let's run this and see how it works. Alright, so now you could see that the frame is created and it is having some nice stuff. So this layouts can be controlled as well. Now you could see that it is in the center. Similar way, the content view can also be controlled. So now you can understand that the frame can be used in many places where you wanted to show an image, like you show it in a gallery, where you wanted to create an item which could have some shadow, when you want to create some items that will be highlighted inside a list. So these are the scenarios where this frame can be used in and comes in handy. And there's one other view called as scroll view, similar to the content view. However, if the content inside the scroll view is long enough than the screen size, then the scroll view will automatically start scrolling. So let me again have a margin of 20. And the scroll view has a property called as orientation, which will allow you to control the scrolling. It can scroll either in the both sides or only on horizontal or vertical, or you can even restrict the scroll view to not scroll at all. So let me again use the same image. No, let me use the different image, which is image 1. And yeah, so now if the scroll view is off, if the content inside the scroll view is small, it will not do anything. It will simply act like a content view, so there will be no difference. So let me first run this without with the small content, and then probably run with the huge content and see the difference, so that it can be understood better. So now we can see that there's nothing to scroll here, so it fits in nice within the view, and the scroll view works just like a content view. Now let me do one thing. Let me change the width and height request to be 1000, so which is clearly greater than the size of the screen. And now if I run this, alright, now you could see that the image is loaded in a larger size and it is scrolling on both sides. So this shows the usage of content view, frame and scroll view. So similar to content view, you can load any contents inside a scroll view. Typically anything that requires scrolling in Xamarin Forms in a simple page will be put inside the scroll view. So whenever the content of this content of what the view that you're going to put inside the scroll view is huge, or the size of that is greater than the size of the screen, then the scroll view will start scrolling. So I hope you find this session helpful. So that's all about the layouts in Xamarin Forms which has single child. See you in the next session. Thank you.